There is this saying, try not to become a man of success, rather try to become a man of value. By all measures, William Newton Liggett was both. He would want us to call him Bill, or maybe even Billy. But to me, he was Gumpaw. Banking was always in his life, starting in Ripley, Ohio, where he grew up a century ago. His uncle had a bank in nearby Russellville. His father started out there and eventually ran a small family-owned bank in Ripley, the Citizens National Bank. Citizens National was where he learned the ropes of banking. He clerked during the summers and became the assistant cashier after he graduated from Miami University in 1939. After 3 years, he took a position with the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation and moved his young family to Columbus. Bill traveled around the state, overseeing the loans and capitalization of various national banks. But World War II was looming. While his position with the FDIC exempted him from the draft, his sense of responsibility for the greater good prompted him to put his career on hold. He enlisted in the U.S. Navy and served as lieutenant in the Pacific from 1944 to 1946. Bill joined First National Bank of Cincinnati as a lending officer. It was a homecoming on several levels. Not only had he come back to the Queen City area, Bill returned to his first love of community banking. In his role with First National, he patrolled the small-town banks of the tri-state, paying particular attention to those looking for expansion loans. If a bank looked to be at good risk, First National would not only grant the loan, it would cover an unsecured portion. And it worked. Eventually, the interest from these and other business loans became the largest profit stream for First National. Bill rose through the ranks of the bank on his talent, his attention to detail, and his remarkable vision. Not surprising, his gifts spilled into the community as well.
Bill was viewed in the industry as a banker's banker. As CEO, he ran a tight ship, but delegated a lot of responsibility to those who could handle it. Bill had a great love for and worked for the betterment of Cincinnati, both business-wise and civic-wise.
In 1984, after 36 years with First National Bank, Bill retired as chairman and CEO, a position he held for an unprecedented 13 years. He left behind one of the highest performing banks in the region and the founding charter today for U.S. Bank.
In the early 70s, I was a young trust officer at the then First National Bank of Cincinnati, where Bill Liggett was president. Over the many subsequent decades, I became very close to Bill Liggett and his wife Marge and their 4 kids, and I became their financial and trust advisor. And we've had many good meetings and many good times together over those years. And I felt, man, he was a man of integrity, enthusiasm, and he was a great banker for the time.
Bill Liggett was named a Great Living Cincinnatian by the Cincinnati Chamber of Commerce. He was Ohio Vice President for the American Bankers Association and President of the Ohio Bankers Association. He also served as a director on about a dozen boards, including Cincinnati Gas and Electric, Lodge and Shipley, and Midland Company. Bill's commitment to the greater good often included his beloved Miami University, where he was awarded the Dollarboy Medal and the Bishop Medal for service. He received an honorary doctorate of laws from the university in 1974.
Bill Liggett, who graduated from Miami in 1939, is the classic Miami success story in many ways. Going back to his entering years, came to Miami without money, earned 40 cents an hour typing papers for other students in an effort to pay his way through school. He also worked in the dining halls as a waiter, as a way to pay for his board. To go from that humble beginning and then ultimately become arguably one of Miami's greatest volunteer leaders is truly one of Miami's great success stories. Bill went on to be president of the Miami University Alumni Association. He served on the Miami Board of Trustees, ultimately chairing the Board of Trustees twice. Went on to serve as a trustee of the Western College for Women, which existed just across the road from Miami at that time, and the school from which his wife Marjorie graduated. So Bill's volunteer leadership in many ways impacted the university. His leadership of the campaign for enrichment, that was one of Miami's first fundraising campaigns, helped to provide significant scholarship money and other support for the university at a time when state support was beginning to decline. He was part of committees that helped identify new presidents for the university. And certainly the presidents that Bill would have been instrumental in bringing to campus were well remembered and highly thought of leaders of Miami University that built and developed change in ways that no one could have imagined at that time.
But any discussion of William Liggett is incomplete unless it includes the heritage he left for his 4 children and 10 grandchildren. It is found in our tender memories of him and Marge at knothole baseball games, swim meets, field hockey, soccer games, tennis matches, basketball, Sunday school, and even scout camp. This is the true measure of Bill Liggett, a man of success, a man of value. I know I speak for everyone in our family when I extend a warm and heartfelt thank you to Elizabeth, to Scott, to Greg, to everyone on this steering committee, for this selection committee, for this great honor for Bill Liggett. I found my gumpaw to be quite simple. He cared about 3 things: family, passion, and community. Looking around our tables this evening, he must have had a huge influence on all of our family, as these are the 3 things that connect and empower us still today. I was a freshman at Miami, which was only a couple years ago, when I remember getting the phone call that he had passed away. While the rest of my dorm was out partying, I retreated to the basement of Collins Hall and put some thoughts on paper. Driving down Highway 27, I was convinced I would ask someone upon arriving back at home that I wanted to read these at his memorial. But when I got home and realized how many people were there comforting my grandmother, my aunts, my uncles, my mom, that I lost the courage to ask anyone to read those words. And my husband said to me tonight, on the way here, he said, "You didn't write one of your famous limericks to accept this award, did you?" And I said, "No, I didn't. In fact, I wrote it when I was 19, and it has been sitting on my mother's fridge because I was too afraid to read it at his memorial. So I brought that tonight to share with you, to give you a little bit of insight on who he was to us. He greeted us with good evening, smiled politely, raised a hand. He said, "It was just lovely, nothing less than this man. He loved us by teasing, nicknames were his test. He adored his family picnics and the bluebirds of happiness. He asked us if we've been paid today, dropping silver dollars here and there, reminding us to save them and perhaps one day to share. He drilled us on tough words, on spelling, on tough words like biscuit. He laughed while we struggled because none of us could remember it. He passed treats down the church pews, red dollars and jelly beans. He supported us on the sidelines and pushed us to our means. Is it Miami or your Emmy? Have you seen Peabody Hall? How are the academics? He questioned through it all. It's time to go home and get settled. Exit words for his nest. His wise words still bestill us, and our lives are extremely blessed. Thank you.